Welcome back. Well, it's a pleasure today to have on Jim Graham, and he's the owner of Santa Margarita Toyota. And since I live up there in Rancho Santa Margarita, it's a place that I've been to and pass by all the time. So it's great to have you here. And
thank you very much.
Welcome. You've been part of that community for quite a long time, right?
We have. My wife and I moved to Coto de Caza in 1995 when I had just purchased the land to build Santa Margarita Ford.
Yeah.
And then we built the dealership in 96 and opened in 97.
Wow. So I remember first going up there around 97, then we moved there in about 2004. So it's great that you own the Toyota dealership. I think, about a year you've had that?
No, it's been actually 3 years.
Has it really? Wow.
So we were the pioneers with the Ford dealership, and then the Toyota dealership came in 2004, and it came up for sale 3 years ago. It seems like a year. It's gone by really quickly.
Yeah, and I have to say, because although we haven't gotten a Toyota from you, we've gotten a couple Fords up there. And the experience has always been really good. Just over the years, even sometimes we've gone there and just looked around, or you bring food trucks in or whatever it might be. And the people are really nice. There's never any high pressure. It's just a pleasant experience.
Well, thank you. We work at that. That's not by accident.
So you've had Toyota now for about 3 years. What kind of changes have you made? What do you do and go in and say, you know what? I want to change the atmosphere of the place.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. I'd like to tell you that we can go in. I thought we would go into the dealership and we would make a lot of changes simultaneously, and it would be a far better place to do business. And I think I was naive in that regard. Everything has taken longer and cost more than I thought it would.
Yes.
But part of it was they had a good service department. It's a much better one today. We've done a lot more training, and that was necessary to do. And the issue, I think the reason the store was for sale, it was sort of a Me Too Toyota dealership. It didn't stand for anything. And we've tried to brand it as a place that customers want to go. You're treated with respect and transparency, and I don't think that was happening before.
Right. Now, you said when it came to Ford, 97. What did you do before that?
I was the Ford dealer in Downey, up in Los Angeles County, and my father had built that dealership in 1951. Oh, wow. So my entire life, I've been in the car business, and it's just been putting food on the table one way or another. So
I think of all the changes you have seen, not just in the way things are done. As you know, years and years ago, things weren't quite as upfront as they used to be, but really the safety and the technology that are in the vehicle. It doesn't matter which brand it is. It's just incredible.
Everybody makes a good car now. The quality of cars is excellent. And today the technology is overwhelming. And when you get to be our age, it's really overwhelming. Yeah. But everybody makes a great car today. But the big difference in the way customers go to shop for cars is that when I first started doing this, the dealer had all the information. Right. He knew the competitive comparisons. He knew what things should sell for. It was hard for a customer to do research unless you get some from advertisements, but you had to read articles in Popular Mechanics and things like that. Whereas today, you can be home in your pajamas with a cup of coffee, and you can learn more in an hour on price comparisons, and not even price comparisons, but model comparisons. Yeah. Anything you want to compare. And our job is to make sure that when you do come in, we know at least as much about the product as you do. Right. Because if you've spent a whole lot of time researching it, you may be a step ahead if we're not careful.
And I'm one of those people who do a lot of research. We lease our cars. I do it for my wife, but I'll go and look at everything, look at prices from here to there, and all kinds of things. Now, you folks have up there what's called Easy Price. So what is that?
This is a concept that I love. And if you think about it, one of the things that hasn't changed in the car business forever is the fact that when you come in as a customer and you ask a simple question, oh, what's the price on that car? You either get met with a question, which is, oh, do you have a trade-in? Are you going to finance it?
Yeah.
Or an answer like, well, let's go in and is it the one you want? Well, then we'll go in and we'll find out what it costs.
Right.
Whereas, let's just tell you what the price is. So what we do is we shop our competition relentlessly. We also take into account supply and demand throughout Southern California and availability, and we just price the car on the money every day. And we post that price on the cars, we post it online, so you can find out what it's going to sell for, and that doesn't change. So there's no games and there's no back and forth. We don't start high, you start low, and we go through all that brain damage of negotiation, trying to find out what's the least we'll take and what's the most you'll pay.
Yeah, and that's something that in some cases, I'm one of those people kind of enjoyed that process. You know, my wife hated it, so I would be the one that would go in and kind of do that. But I don't think anybody really enjoys it all that much, because what else do you buy that you do that with?
Nothing. That's the point. And you get fixated on asking about the price because you're nervous about it. And so we've, as an industry, we've trained people to be fixated on the price when really that's secondary. It should be, what is the car, what equipment does it have? Does it do the job for me? Is it the right car for me to buy for my use? And by posting our best price up front and making that completely transparent and available, then as a customer, you can relax, number one, and number two, you can enjoy the process of learning about the car. Yeah,
and that's important, because nowadays there's a lot to learn.
Well,
when it comes to the tech part of
it. There's no question, especially in our age group, there's so much technology to learn.
Yeah.
And so what we find that in a scenario where you come in and you negotiate the price, number one, it takes too long. It takes a couple hours to buy a car because you're going back and forth. But also, because you're worn out and the customer's explaining how all this technology works, you're not listening. You're wiped out.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
A lot of times someone will drive off in a car on Sunday afternoon and they've been shown how to sync up their phone for the Bluetooth, and they've learned how to use the navigation and a bunch of other stuff, and by Thursday they can't remember any of it. And then they'll call and they'll say, can I come back? Can we do this again? So we think it's a lot more fruitful to spend your time when you're purchasing the car to do that at the same time, as opposed to going through this kabuki play of finding the price that is the right price to pay.
Very true. You know, my wife says that to me, that I'm not listening.
So anyway, mine.
Yeah. Let's talk about service. You know, we got this graphic up behind us, and
that's a great picture.
Yeah, the service area, and you've got is right over there. I mean, it's a very large dealership.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It is
and service
huge
is important
for being in Rancho Santa Margarita.
Yeah.
And but we found a way to use all of it. But we do. We have a huge service department, and we've hired about. We have 8 more technicians working in the service department than we did when we started.
Wow.
So we have a lot more capacity, and we have a lot more inventory than when we first bought the dealership.
And you know, that's important to people, because when it comes to service, especially if you want something fairly quick, the standard, you don't need the same service nowadays than what you used to, a tune-up every 100,000 miles, but an oil change and all.
I restored a 51 Ford. And in the owner's manual, it tells you to go back to the dealer for some sort of, for a checkup, if nothing else, every 90 days or 1,000 miles. Can you imagine that today?
Wow.
Whereas now we have oil changes that go out 7,500 miles, in some cases 10,000 miles. So we have actually about half our business in the service department on any given day is really just oil changes and a little bit extra.
Right.
So we have 6 technicians who just do quick service and oil changes and turn around the car in 45 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I remember, and I'm sure you do too, where you used to have what was called break-in oil.
Right,
and
exactly.
It's because you could have little metal shavings or fragments within the engine that would collect.
And you were told, don't drive the car over 50 miles an hour for the first 90 days or 3,000 miles.
Good thing we don't have that now.
Yeah.
Now, of course, when it comes to Toyota, you probably have the biggest selection of vehicles, I think, of any make out there. I
We do,
would think.
because we have the most space, which,
Yeah.
which makes it nice.
Yeah.
And Toyota is in 12 different segments of the market.
Yes.
So you have everything from Corollas and Camrys on up to Sequoias and Highlanders and 4Runners and that sort of thing. So what we've tried to do, some of the biggest Toyota dealers in the country happen to be within 20 miles of here.
Right.
So I can't have the same amount of inventory that they do, but we can be better by our sales process. And anything we don't have on any given day, we can get in a day. That's
Right.
That's
Yeah,
easy
that's true.
to do.
What, just out of curiosity, what are some of the bigger sellers nowadays? Is it still like the
Well,
RAV4? And
The RAV4 is probably our best seller right now.
people love the more personal
Absolutely,
SUVs now.
and the Tacoma pickup is on a big roll.
Right.
And the Camry is still the best-selling car in America, and it's such a good value.
Yeah, and they recently, I think the 2019s got redesigned. And
Correct.
I saw you folks over at the RSM Fest, that the Chamber of Commerce
Rancho
puts
Fest,
on,
right.
Rancho Fest. And you had this Camry there, the sport model, and had these red and black seats.
Exactly.
And I was like, wow, that doesn't look like the Camrys of yore that were fairly boring.
Right,
looking.
right.
Yeah.
Toyota always has been known for having a solid Camry, but not take chances, that
Right.
sort of thing with styling. And
They took some chances.
They took some chances.
Yeah, it looks a whole lot better.
Yeah, and it rides like a dream.
Yeah, it really does. So you folks, you're not far, at least for me, but even from here, because I commute from that area every single day, and maybe it takes me 15 minutes, so it's not far away. And I always tell people the way I go home, I go up El Toro. It's better than Alicia when you go
Absolutely.
like that. El Toro to Santa Margarita Parkway, and then you would just take a right and keep going. And now when you get into Santa Margarita, it's off Esperanza, so it's
Impressa,
excuse
that's
me.
right, which runs between...
I still don't know the streets up there.
I don't either. They go a lot of different
They do.
directions. But Impressa runs between Antonio and Santa Margarita
Right.
Parkway. It sort of it forms the bottom of a triangle.
Yeah, so it's right over there, and it's great to have you on. Because,
Well, thank you very much. I did want to point, I was asked by our service manager to tell people that although we don't have enough people to pick up and deliver cars from Laguna Woods, if you bring your car up for service, we'll make sure that we Uber you back home, and we'll pay for that.
Okay.
And that's a little nudge that we can add.
That is fantastic. Great to meet you, sir.
Thank you very much,
see you
Ken.
again. And once again, I have to say thank you to him, because we were talking before. Years ago, he kind of negotiated with the city and gets a little land trade and all this kind of stuff, and brought In-N-Out Burger up to RSM.
That's right.
So
That's
we
one of my
thank
great
you.
achievements.
And it's cool because you're eating your hamburgers, and you see a little car show right there, right?
That's not by accident either.
I don't think it is, but I love it, and I thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Take care. We'll be right back.